Here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. But whether you're black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? You look fabulous. Let's say hi to our friends online. We're so happy you could be here with us as well. And know that wherever you are in your spiritual path, this is the right place for you. We are a community that specializes in loving support for whatever is going on in life and for that greater yet to be that's just working its way out of you in spite of yourself. So seeing and knowing your magnificence, I am so happy to see you here this morning and to welcome you. I'm Reverend Tracy Earlywine, and we have a lot of people playing with us up on platform this morning. Our practitioner of the week is Diane Clemens. Yes, we clap for prayer. Our practitioners are the ones who know the truth for us when we can't see it for ourselves. You've all been in that place where you don't see a way out, you can't tell what you could possibly do next, you can't get out of whatever that mental spiral is that you are in. And your practitioners are always there for you, there to know the truth, there to pray with you, there to remind you of the greater possibilities of life until you can once again know it for yourself. You can also just talk to them to pray about happy things, just so you know that we are all about celebration and joy. So Diane is that for us this morning. She'll do an opening reading and prayer for us in just a bit to get us started. We have wonderful music this morning. We welcome back Michael. Nice to see you, Michael Whitney, and Jeff on piano, of course. And let's say hello to our sound team. You know, the guys in the back that make the online possible and the microphones work and the, you know, all that stuff, all the chord things. They do all the chord things, and we're grateful. So we're going to take a moment now and just get centered. Let all of that outside stuff go and take a deep breath, clear your laps, clear your minds wherever you are, and take in the sound of the bowl. Breathing into that space of the heart, that place within you that is your sanctuary, your place of peace. And remembering that in this place, that you and I and Spirit are one.
As we settle into the sacred space, let us begin by knowing there is no spot where God is not. Spirit is ever present, ever available. Let us be open to life loving us today and every day. Let us give grateful thanks for the blessings we are offered and be willing to accept our good. We are grateful for our beautiful Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. We are grateful that we are an inclusive community. And we are grateful for all those who serve us, our sound technicians, our pianists, our singers, our practitioners, all of our volunteers, and our ministers. Let's give acknowledgement for all these gifts, knowing that we are so grateful, and we know that whatever we are grateful for increases and will give us more to be grateful for. we bless today's service, and we open our hearts and our minds to the message we will receive today from our wonderful Reverend Tracy. And we say together, and so it is. Our reading today is written by our very own Reverend Mary and taken from her Friday post. She posts every day, and I thought Fridays was just beautiful. She says, I step onto fertile ground of pure creativity and freedom. To step forward onto fertile ground, we release our attachment to the past and to the known. For only as we step into uncertainty do we open ourselves to something new and wonderful. In Chopra's law of detachment, we learn that the only things we know for sure have already passed. It is in the unknown that we are totally free to create whatever suits us at the moment, and we are open for new experiences. In prayer treatment, we state our intention, but we add this or something better. So let's state our intentions today and have faith in a universe that is doing its best to create something better for us in each and every moment. Thank you.
Choose peace. I see love. I breathe joy. I feel God. I choose peace. I see love. I breathe joy. I feel God. Thank you, God. I open my heart to feel God's love within. I open my ears to hear the truth within. I open my mind and remember that I'm here to live each day in love instead of fear. I choose peace. I see love. I breathe joy. I feel God. I choose peace. I see love. I breathe joy. I feel God. Thank you, God.
That was beautiful. Thank you. So today, we light the candle for surprises. Happy surprises. Good surprises. All kinds of surprises we have in our life, yes? And we'll talk about all these different kinds of surprises and how we actually handle them, because I know some are easier to handle than others. But I want to start by talking about something very important, and that is my vacation. Hopefully you've had a little vacation also. I just got back from vacation, and I posted the standard picture of the view from my sister-in-law's porch overlooking the lake, because that's where we go on vacation, is upstate New York, and it's gorgeous. And I love it there, and I am always reminded when we get there that, oh yeah, you know what? There's a whole lot of ways to live your life. A whole lot of places you can be. A whole lot of scenery that isn't in my everyday view that still exists whether I'm there or not. And what that does for me is it reminds me of the possibilities of life. And there's something in that process of being in new surroundings, even though I've been there before, even though I expect it to be lovely because I've been there before, it's never the same exactly. It's always a little different. This year, the difference was we had a brand new puppy in the house, which, pretty much ended all normal conversation between the adults in the room. It was all, oh, isn't she cute? Look at her hop. I mean, it was just fabulous. For some of us, that's relaxing and enjoyable. For some of you, it might have driven you crazy. But what I loved about being there was, again, that reminder of the possibilities of life. That what we see every day is not the whole story. That what we hear in our heads all day is not the only thing that can be said or believed or acted upon. It's that infinite expansion. And there's something about going into nature or falling in love or being in that place of spiritual connection with the divine that refreshes and renews us, so that when we come back into our human everyday life, we bring with us that sense of connection. We are refreshed, meaning we take a fresh view of what it is that we're now looking at. We come back renewed because we see things a little differently. We appreciate certain things a little more, and we let go of some things that we realize weren't so important after all, once we step away. When we see things anew, that's part of the definition of surprise. To be surprised is to discover the previously unknown. And that reading today, for that Diane did from Mary's writing, was perfect. Because the only thing we know for sure is in the past. Everything in the present and the upcoming future is unknown. We basically live in an eternal moment of surprise. As in, let's see what's here. Now, some surprises, like presents, are lovely, right? You get a box that has a bow on it, or it's in a bag with a lot of tissue paper, because who wraps presents anymore? And inside, there's a treasure. And the expectation when someone gives you a gift is that this is something good. There's something in here for me. I can't wait to see what it is, unless it's from your Aunt Gertrude, who never really gets it right. But for everybody else that hands you a present, you're ready. And that sense of delight is energizing. It's what triggers our own creativity and our own energy for living. Now, there's also the kind of surprise that happens in scary movies, where I call it the cellar stare syndrome. We don't really have cellars in California, but they do back east. The cellar stairs in a movie, they're always dark and scary, and there's noises coming from down there somewhere, and it's dangerous. And those kinds of surprises make us afraid. We don't want to go down the stairs. In fact, we tell the people, we shout at the movie screen, no, don't go down there. And they do anyway. Chainsaws and things happen. So not all surprises feel like presents. But we have a choice on how we approach life. Do we approach it as the gift box with the treasure inside? Or are we afraid in our own lives to do something new, to take a chance, to go somewhere different? I don't know, try something else. Now, I happen to know that all of you found this place after having tried something else, except maybe Nisa, who was born into it. But for most of us, it was a process of discovery. And how sad would it have been had you been totally afraid to walk in the door? And how wonderful it is that we open ourselves to new experiences as they show up in our lives. Now, like I said, not all surprises feel like presents. How many of you are fans of having a surprise party? How about having a surprise party for someone else? That's better, right? Yeah. Now, I happen to like surprise parties. I am very excited. And what I see when I walk into an unexpected group of people all calling my name, I don't know, something about being up here kind of like prepared me for that. There's something about the love and attention and intention of the people in the room to celebrate, to have wanting an opportunity to express their love. Now, that's not always the case, because sometimes, for some people, you walk into a room of people yelling your name, and all of a sudden it's an unsafe situation. You're startled. Do I know these people? I guess I know these people. Why are we doing this? Why are they all looking at me? And, it's very uncomfortable, right, to have all that attention for some people. And the intention of loving you is lost in the reaction that happens for whatever reason. I'm not saying everybody has to love surprise parties. That's not the case at all. But we do have somewhere on that spectrum of absolute terror and absolute delight a reaction to being surprised. Now, for me, if I'm startled suddenly, I jump. It's a physiological reaction. You slam a door somewhere behind me, I will jump every single time. I don't go to Halloween Haunt at Knott's Berry Farm. Not my idea of a good time to jump over and over and over again. But my spiritual practice has given me tools, and part of the toolbox is to pause and re-decide if I'm in danger or not. Right? Because that startle reflex, that's the lizard brain, right? That's the animal part of us that says different is dangerous. Something sudden and unexpected should be run from or free so they don't see you. So I know that in my everyday world, I'm very seldom under personal threat. So if I jump in place from some noise, chances are I'm still okay. And I can take a deep breath and decide what it really means, and then move on. Now, it's important to remember when we're surprised by life that our initial thought is not the last word. All right? My body responding to a loud noise is not the whole picture of what's going on in life. It's not even the whole picture of what's going on in me. And when you come across something in life that stops you short or throws you off course, it's really important to remember that's not the whole picture of your life. It is one part of your experience. And here's the thing about experiences. We think we're shaped by our experiences. And I'm not saying there's not an influence there. But what we're really shaped by is the way we think about our experiences. The way it feels for us. It's the way we personally respond, not necessarily to what's actually happening out there. Right? You've all had that experience where you thought someone said something that hurt your feelings, then you come to find out, 5, 10, 15 years later, that's not what they meant, that's not what they said, they don't even remember it, or you misheard them. And for years, you've been carrying this hurt without realizing that your initial response wasn't the whole story. And so our spiritual practice says we are here to unfold, to transform, to expand, to become, which means it'd be a really good idea if we stuck around for the end of the story before we decided if it was good or bad. Now, how many of you love to just like pick a restaurant out of the blue or off of Travel Advisor or Yelp and just go and try it out? A couple people, yeah? How many of you would do that if a friend told you it was good? A few more people. How many of you look at Yelp or anybody else's reviews and go, no, I think I'm just going to go to Lucille's because we go there every Friday night? Okay, we got a couple of those. Thank you very much. I like to think of myself as adventurous, but honestly, sometimes when there's a bunch of new stuff, I get in my head about, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know. The words I don't know in my life make stress happen. And I know there's a few others of you out there, recovering control freaks and perfectionists, that don't like to say, I don't know. See, you all know who you are. Now, this is part of that gift box seller stare syndrome, this dichotomy. If it's a gift box, a new restaurant is like, oh, well, let's see what's on the menu. I wonder what's in that. Let's read all the ingredients and see if that sounds good to us. Da-da-da-da-da. We dive in. It's kind of fun. It's energizing. New things energize us. The thing is, where the energy goes depends on how we think about it. Because when I was looking to buy a new car, my beloved, beautiful, quite old BMW convertible was creaking, and it's time, right? And here's what happens when something that big, because that's a big purchase, right? As if God knew big or little. It's a big purchase. And what happens is, oh my God, what am I going to get? What do I like? I don't even know what I like. I better drive a bunch of stuff and see what I like. I don't know what I like. And if I do like it, how am I going to find it? Because, we're going on vacation, and I got to do this before we go on vacation because I can't be without a car, and she's a little wobbly. And sure enough, the darn alternator went out 2 days before we left on vacation. That changes the trade-in value, in case you don't know. Yeah. Towing it in as opposed to driving it in is a whole different ballgame. So that whole I don't know stress syndrome could have taken over my life, could have completely paralyzed me, which has been known to happen in the past, because that energy is powerful. And what makes the difference between paralysis and wow is how I choose to think about it. So I want you to know that as your minister, I showed up well spiritually. I continued to affirm that this was all going to work out, and I'm not sure what that was about, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get to church today if I didn't have a car this weekend when we got home. But there's just this underlying belief that I've been teaching and practicing and living for so long that it's going to work out for the best, that's what carried me. And so what happened was, you want to know what happened, right? First of all, I'll tell you the end of the story. There's a pretty little red car out there. Yeah. And it's not the car I originally picked or had set up to buy, because the car I set up to buy was the type I wanted, but it was blue. Now, it was a beautiful blue. It would have been just fine. But because I had this extra time to think about it, that it wasn't here, it was in transit. Do you know what it means when your car is in transit? You would think it would mean that it's like on a truck in Utah. We'll be here in a few days. But no, that's not what it meant, because it took almost 6 weeks. Not the 2 or 3 originally promised. It did arrive right after we got back. But by then, I was looking for the red car. Now, why was I looking for the red car when I had a perfectly good, brand new blue car coming? Well, because every time I thought about my new car, I saw myself in a red one. And every time I saw this particular car on the road, it was red. I didn't see any blue ones. I only saw the red ones. That's a clue. That's a clue. That's your intuition telling you something. Go with it. And so my friend calls it the red car life. She says, picture yourself in the red car life 5 minutes a day, twice a day. I can do that. So I did. Because every time I thought about the red car, I smiled. So I just walked around smiling to myself, having no idea how I was going to get to church this morning because I didn't have a car that ran. Well, it runs. It's just that when your alternator goes out, it fries all the sensors. And so I touched my AC button and the windshield wipers went off. And that was a little unnerving. Also, every warning light on the dash comes on in turn. So I had transmission problems and engine problems and all. Anyway, not a good, don't drive it. So what I got from all this is that there's this energy that comes with something new. And the way in which it unfolds in my life depends a great deal on what I believe and the channels of my own thinking. And had I focused only on the obstacles, on the delay, on the they don't have a red one, they only have a blue one, and we already gave them a little money to hold it, and I haven't driven it yet because they didn't have one on the lot, but who wants to live like that? And we do though, don't we? Right? Sometimes. So, you don't have to. That's what I'm here to tell you. You don't have to. Affirming life, affirming the good, affirming that all these surprises were actually part of life being for me and unfolding perfectly and perfect timing, perfect outcome. Says I have a Mazda CX-30 red little baby SUV that's just adorable. Yeah. And I'm happy. Oh, and I got to tell you, so while we were in the finance guy's office signing the 17 pieces of paper you have to sign, what song comes on the radio? Annie Lennox, "Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree?" Okay, and then driving to the previous, I bought it at a different dealership. We were driving to the dealership to take back our deposit, which they said we could do, for the car I didn't get. And as I get in the car and turn it on to go over there, and Pat's following me in her car, I get, "I'm so happy." You know, what's that song? You feel like you're in a room without a roof. You know that one? Yeah, that one. Okay, yeah, for real. That's it. Yeah. So, that's how you get a red car life, my friends. So our energy is directed by the way we think about things. So as Ernest Holmes says, you change your thinking, you change your life. You change what you focus on, you change your direction. You adjust the sails just a little bit. You let life come to you as it does and adjust to it. And it's easy. It's easy. It's not the struggle. It's not the climbing over walls or slogging through mud that you think it might have to be. I want to read something that Jane Beach wrote. She's a Science of Mind minister who writes beautifully. But she wrote this particular thing. She says, "My soul reminds me, don't hold on too tight. Let your life ebb and flow, discovering the ease that letting go offers. Stand tall in grace and move through each moment without clinging. Remember that you're meant to be happy. Let me prove it to you," your soul says. "Follow my lead. Trust me with the process and the outcome. And sensing the truth, I respond, you lead, I'll follow. Following your heart, you won't go wrong. Following your heart, every surprise is a good surprise." Now, the thing is, we are going to get surprised by life, right? It moves. Have you noticed that? It really doesn't stay still. It always moves. So we are going to get surprised. But my spiritual practice teaches me, Science of Mind teaches all of us, that we can also not only expect the change, but expect the good. Expect it to be for us. Prove it to ourselves again and again and again. And when we get disappointed, because we are disappointed, some of those presents don't feel like presents at all, we're to remember that the stress comes from the discrepancy, the gap between what I think it's supposed to be and what it is. So I have news for you. It's nothing will ever fully match up to my idea. Because my idea is in my head. Life is happening all around me. Now, like the reading said, this or something better. I had a great idea for a new car. I did my due diligence. I went out and drove a bunch of stuff to see what I liked and narrowed it down and got really close. And then something better came out of that than what I had originally imagined. So we are meant to flow with life, to feel what we feel in our reaction, and to remember that we are always at choice in our response, in our thinking, in the way in which we understand what it means to us. Our world is designed so that we can't change the past, much as we might want to. We can't change the past. But what we can do, what spiritual practice teaches us, is that we can understand it differently from a new perspective. That new perspective comes sometimes with time. It comes with the changes that we have gone through since things happened to us. That new perspective comes from our spiritual practice and teaching that says that life is for us. So we can't change the trauma that happened before, or the sadness that we've experienced, or the difficulties we had to overcome. But we can change the way we see them. We can change the way we understand them. There's a reason that understanding and seeing mean the same thing, right? To see something clearly is to understand it well. We can understand it well when we take a new perspective, and remember, to see something anew is part of what a surprise is. That means it's a present. Seeing it anew means that we can be in a different place. So from this moment now, what are my choices? How many possibilities do I have to change my life, to be in my life in a different way? All of those things are questions we can ask ourselves when we are confronted with something that feels like an obstacle. Ernest Holmes, in his book, How to Use Science of Mind, says, stated in its simplest terms, the spiritual practitioner, without denying the body, the environment, or the physical world, seeks to bring them into line with a recognition of spiritual and divine realities. When we align with a greater spiritual truth, then the physical things that we handle all the time take on a new meaning, a new light, a new energy, if you will. So when we think back to what's happened to us that we wished hadn't happened, we can acknowledge what it meant to us then and feel maybe what we couldn't feel then to protect ourselves, right? We all have something in our childhoods that at the time felt damaging or destructive or just somehow demoralizing. We can take those things, feel it, recognize it, acknowledge it, and then understand that we are in a place of new perspective from here. We can change the way that we tell that story to ourselves. We can change what it means to us. And that's how, when you change your thinking, you're changing your life, not because we change the past, but because we change the future, because we change the present moment. Because we are coming from a place of love and understanding rather than fear. We're standing with the gift bag rather than at the top of the cellar stairs. So if it's true, the way Eric Butterworth writes, and he only speaks truth as far as I'm concerned, he said, God is the spirit by which we live. Not the person to whom we pray. But if God is the spirit by which we live, then surprise is just the unfolding of life and love in a new and different form. It's a present to be opened. And it's at the party of your choosing. Namaste. So let's take a moment in prayer. Taking that deep breath. And in your mind's eye, see that favorite gift you were ever given right before you. Maybe it was a bike when you were little. Maybe it was a beautiful piece of jewelry from someone you loved. Maybe it was tickets to go somewhere. Maybe it was a special seashell that your friend gave you. Take that present that was in front of you and feel the joy, the anticipation, the excitement, the appreciation for all that is good in life. Know this in your heart of hearts, that this goodness, this feeling of rightness, this energy of curiosity and discovery is the very truth of our being. It's the very energy of life by any name. We find it in nature, we find it in the eyes of a loved one, we find it with a new discovery. We find it within ourselves. This place of joy and peace. This place where our daily lives begin to make sense when seen from love, from spirit, through practice. And so I speak my word for the perfect unfolding of every life, of everyone listening to my voice. I see and know that any surprise obstacle is not that. It is perhaps an unexpected stepping stone. Always, always, and in all ways for you, leading you forward, lifting you up. For this life of spirit is one of ever expanding possibilities, all encompassing good. And in and through and as all, it is a life of love. Love given and received, love felt, love nourished. Love is, God is, Spirit is, here and now and always. And in this knowing, I am grateful, for I see all of life as a blessing. I recognize each person as the gift that they are. I know that even those things which feel uncomfortable in the moment are still for me, in time and on time. Life is good, getting better all the time, for there is only God, everywhere present. The only power that is this power for good, and it is ours, and so it is.